thing about, you can do this. It's not true. None of it's true.
A sticker means nothing. So
Yeah.
see that? So everybody thinks, the business pays for that. It doesn't, because if I do that, then I attract fringe benefits. So what I need to do is sponsor other people.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
So that gets around that. But I'm not going to kill my business just to...
Nah.
I mean, it's very tempting. It's very tempting sometimes, but... I get so much work out of the speedway industry, it's not funny. I'm that pesty for the speedway industry here in SA. And the best thing that ever happened was Ross Miller ran a wingless when Susie and I were contemplating whether to buy... Well, I wanted to buy one, but it was just up to her. And then she sees this Pest Aid car come out and she goes, "Nah, this is our house." And that was, I kid you not, that was the best thing that ever happened. That was because from my racing, my racing's in two versions, 10 years ago and now. So I ran a couple of seasons 10 years ago. And I've still got some clients from that because I had EcoPest, Gavin Hutton's old business. I worked for him. So he sponsored us.
Is that who was on all the Brock Hallett 500s?
No,
that was a different one. Yeah.
No, but he ran second to Brock Hallett at the Aussie title at Bordertown. And it's funny, I went working for Gav. Didn't know Gav through Speedway. He just knew different people than I knew. But anyway, the people that came to me then, I've still got clients now because when I went out on my own, they chased me down. I never poached anything once I left Eco. But the power of being, if you're a plumber or a sparky or something like that in the Speedway industry, you become that guy for that area. And I've Cody Atkins the other day had 3 houses for me to inspect out north. I mean, that's killer. So I try and support as many people as I can because I've just got so much support through my business, through racing, whether it's directly or indirectly.
Yeah, right.
It's killer.
So how'd you even get started?
Speedway?
Yeah.
My first ever living...
we can talk about pest control. No
one wants to. I kill shit for a living. Who cares? It's cool. I love it. Bugger that. My first ever living memory is being at the Brisbane Exhibition Centre. My dad was a Speedway mad guy, and so he took us up there. I've got family up in Queensland, so we used to go up there for holidays. And all I remember as a 3.5-year-old, it's been dated by my family that... I can remember it raining and I was wrapped up in a rug and my feet were sticking out the back, and I remember looking up and seeing all the brickwork in the tunnel, and they had these tunnels there. And so my first ever living memory is Brisbane Exhibition Ground. But apparently I used to go to Rolly Park with my nana a lot. My nana was mad sports fan. I was in a broken family home, so I was basically raised by my mum and my sister, essentially. So no Speedway influence there, but my nana was keen. So she'd pick us up every Friday night after school at 4:30. We'd be there, 5, because I was out Gawler way when I grew up. And we'd be the first ones in the car park because nana always wanted to get out first, had that prime car park. But, I remember Speedway Park, as a kid, Jack Hewitt rolling in with his gooseneck trailer, when they used to roll in the pits the back way, where the main gate was, not, what they used to do the last couple of years. But, so just always there every Friday night. And then, we just sort of got into dirt carts when I was about 21. I had to wait that long. Had no money. But I loved my Speedway, followed it, in America and stuff like that. And so I went to the bank to get a personal loan to buy this go-kart for a trip to America. And then the bird in the bank, she goes, "Oh, where are you going?" And I went, "Oh, shit, I'm going to Indiana." So I just rattled off all these Speedway places, and she sold it, or bought it. And then she goes, "Oh, and you had to write down collateral on that." And I said, "Well, I had a go-kart," which was actually what I wanted the loan for. It was a terrible way to go about it, but it was easy, and I got this go-kart, got this personal loan at 15% or some stupid thing. And, I couldn't even afford to put a new chain on it, I just never... And then from there, I just met Speedway people, and crewed for Craig Vanderstelt when he started racing sprint cars back in the 360 days. Then I've crewed for Tim Caddy in the Formula 500, and then Adam Curry in his 500. And then, when he went into sprint cars and stuff. But Adam and I sort of met in go-karts and just sort of, we just all sort of went into Speedway that way.
Yeah, right. So how old were you when you first got So what was your first Speedway car?
So my first one was James McFadden's Lasowski car. So it had It was a really long car. I can't even remember the measurement of it, but it had the thicker high tubes and all that sort of. It was one of those weird outlaw cars from that 2000 era. And so I bought that as a roller through Freddie over at Hoosier off of McFadden's. And that was, I think, halfway through the first season of wingless here in South Australia. And then I just built that up. I was working in the mines at that time as well, so I was fly out. So, you know, 1 week Grandma died so I could make the first practice and all this sort of crap. But, yeah, we ran that a couple of years there, and I started running out of money. That was obviously a pretty common thing for me. Just, you know, I just wanted to buy everything, but then didn't think of the long game. And
so you're a typical FIFO worker.
Yeah, at that stage, it was. Yeah, we were burning a fair bit of coin and other things, and just the family as well. Like I found, and even to this day, Speedway is really selfish. It's. You know, you spend a lot of time and money on it, you know, and you just hope your family are enjoying it as much as you are. And unfortunately at the time mine weren't. We had a young family. It was hard, and you know, as we were talking about earlier about kids in the pits, you know, but so anyway, I couldn't afford to run it, and became really good friends with the Obes up in the Riverland, and Daniel wanted to do the Aussie title at Warrnambool. Anyway, I said, yeah, no worries, you know, jump in my car, take it. Well, he junks it, you know, he wrecks it, he writes the thing off, so... you know, but we're still good mates. He sponsors me now and helps me out and stuff like that. But that was sort of the end of it. He gave me another frame to use, but then I just sold it and just sort of ended my version 1 of Speedway, yeah.
Yeah, right. And then a 10-year...
Yeah, 10-year gap. So, hang on, you got a big blowy on there. I'm a pesty. That's really good.
Yeah, that's great advertising.
It's awesome. Yeah, so just a 10-year break. I spat it. You know, I really, if I can't have it, I don't want it sort of deal. You know, I couldn't afford to do it, so I needed to sell it. Like that was still the right decision to make at the time. But I sold everything, you know, and I think I found 2 bleeders and a I don't know, an air bottle or something. That's all I had. And when Susie and I, so you know, marriage broke up, all that crap. Susie and I met, and she heard about me talking about Speedway a lot, and all my friends were Speedway people, and. You know, then she started hearing stories about me racing, and majority of it was crashing all the time, but she obviously took a bit of an interest into it. And, you know, she could see my face whenever I'd talk about it and stuff. So made sure I took her to Warrnambool to the Classic and introduced her to the right people. So, you know, took the feral element out because she was a girl from Glenelg, you know, pretty thing and whatever, and taking her to Speedway. And she loved it. You know, everybody embraced her. Everybody, you know, she's a likeable person, so she just felt comfortable with everybody, and that's what Speedway's like anyway, you know. And then my kids were racing. I tried to get my kids into dirt carts as soon as they could, and then I was trying to live my life through them, and they just didn't want to do it, you know. It's just not them. And then I was moping around here, and she said, why don't you just do it? Why don't you're getting older, you know. I mean, each year goes on and it's going to be harder. And so I just said to her how much it's going to cost, how much it's going to take out of our time, and obviously, I took about 50% off of all of that. But, she loves it, man. She pushes me more than I push me. It's brilliant. So I'm very, very lucky. So we made the decision that we were going to do it, and I didn't want to buy any piece of crap. You know, it's not that money wins, but I like to know that I've got something that it's me, not the car, you know, if that makes sense. So... through work, I bumped into Jack McCarthy, and he had no idea who I was because I quit when he was sort of getting into, I think he was running his 360 or whatever. And and I just saw the photos up on the wall, and I kept a bit of an eye on what was going on, and I went, oh fuck, you know, I might ask this guy would know of any good cars around. And I just mentioned it. He goes, yeah, mine's going to be for sale at the end of the year, or, you know, we can put a car together for you. And I said, all right, I'll buy it. And how much? And he gave me a figure. I said, yep, all right, I'll buy it. I said, do you want me to give you a deposit now? And he said, oh, no. And I was keen, because I knew what I was going to get, and we talked about it and stuff. And because he junked his new car, I think, at the Aussie title. He had that KPC that he built.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he jumped back into the GF1, and this was the car I was going to buy, and he kept winning and kept racing it. And I was kind of stressing a little bit, not the fact that, you know, maybe the deal was going to fall through because he doesn't want to get rid of it. But he kept his word, and we ended up with the car from him, and here we are.
So how many years ago was that?
That was last season, was my first season. So I got the car, sort of about 3 months or something before the season started. Yeah, after he'd finished. Because I had to wait for him to finish, and he kept racing. They kept putting meetings on, and he kept nominating, and he kept winning as well. And I was just like, oh, God, here we go. But, to his road, it's awesome. Yeah.
He has a few words.
He does, but he found it really weird. He found it really weird because he'd say to somebody, oh, yeah, he must have said to somebody, oh, yeah, I'm selling my car to Andy Thompson. Oh, yeah, we know him. He's like, who the fuck is this guy? He'd never heard of me. So it was pretty funny, but couldn't have been happy with it, for sure.
Yeah, right. So were you successful in karts at all?
No. No, I won a club championship at Strath, which was a pretty good thing at the time. That was when Strath was pretty big, and I bought an Brown kart. That was a factory kart and I ended up sort of running against a guy called Scotty Dornan a lot, and that was his factory kart the year or 2 years before, and it was a bit of an experimental thing, but I just found a sweet spot with it, and and I think I finished second in a state title, but that was it. No Aussie titles, nothing like that. Yeah, I mean, even when I finished second in the state title, I took my car engine back to the engine builder I was using, JK Tuning, and he goes, "Dude, you're meant to bring your engines in before the title." So I had no idea what I was doing, and we still got a second plate. So, yeah.
So how was the transition into wingless?
Yeah, massive. I hit the wall the first 2 nights on my first ever night. Bought a brand new right rear weld wheel and demolished that. It was hard. But it was only small fields then too. We had 8 to I think at the end of it was 16. I think.
Is this even like NOS sprint?
Yeah. So that was. But it was good fun. I had fun, but I in the back of my mind all the time, I struggled to even get to the track. My tow car was an old panel van that I had, and I had to call the RAA out once we were loaded up, because it just wouldn't go, and where we live up here in Mount Barker, going up and down the hill to Speedway City, that was a tester.
Yeah.
So even just getting to the track was just a stressful moment,
You're like, hey man, can you fix my car so I can go
racing? It was like that. He goes, dude, like, don't you know what you're doing? I said, mate, I don't actually know what I'm doing. I hate working on these things, but I love driving them,
Yeah, right.
So
I think so. You'd know probably like the sort of best out of anyone then how far they've come from NOS sprint days to now.
Oh, dude, I had no expectations. Like, people probably think, you thought you were going to come in and do well. I didn't really think like that. I was actually more, because I had to set up a whole team, so I was more about, how am I going to do this? How am I going to build a trailer? That was my main. And then it was like, we get to the track and it's like, oh shit, they've C-mains. Like, never seen a C-main in my life, so... it's changed heaps. The equipment's changed, but I never kept an eye on a lot of the equipment.
Yeah.
So poor Susie, I'd send her down to Maxwell's and say, "Oh, get me this," and then Pete would go, "What's he want that for?" They don't, we stopped using them 8 years ago, and
yeah.
So there was a lot of things like that, but I love it. Like, I reckon the more the merrier. I love the fact that to make an A-main's hard. I think that's great. It's not for the fast guys, obviously, but for me it is, and I love that. So it keeps my... I don't know, it's easier to keep my expectations low, I suppose, because it's bloody hard.
Yeah. Because I actually had a mate say to me the other day that we sort of need to forget about NOS sprints from the way they started out to what these things are now.
Yeah.
That sort of, in some sort of way, those NOS sprint days are tarnishing what people think about these things now.
Yeah. That's true. Like, I used to get engines off a Gumtree for $30.
Yeah.
I think I broke a track record at Speedway City, an 8-lap heat record with a $30 Gumtree engine that when I started it too, I forgot to put oil in it. So it sounded like a lathe. Like, I started it and went, why is this sounding like a lathe? Oh shit, And the thing was that, it's just an air pump more than anything probably. But I think the sound is our biggest killer, and Speedway is such a tactile thing. We go there for the smell. We go there for the under lights. It's and then it's like this wet fart going around. But if that's our only, if that's all people can bag us about, well then look at the racing. It's awesome.
I have I'll 100% put my hand up to it. I've done my fair share of bagging of these things, but looking at the stuff from Chariots the other week when I was sitting at home on the couch watching on the stream, the racing was absolutely top notch.
Oh, it was yeah. It's just. with numbers, you're going to get good stuff, I suppose, and that's probably why we've got the numbers. So, but, there's all those, the sprint car diehards will always bat, whatever, mate. Go watch your $110,000 engine and whatever. Here I am with nothing that's even close to that. And I'm having a ball, and Susie's loving it. We just wish we could get our family a bit more involved with the kids in the pits. But, that's another subject.
That's another hour.
Like, I'm a family guy. I got 4 kids and a business, and it's so important that we need to embrace the families more. And you brought up a good thing before about having that cut-off time in the pits, because basically, for people that don't know, if you've got a missus with young kids, they've got to sit on the hill in the hottest part of the day, and generally where our speedways are, they're not the most... Speedway City was really bad. It was like Afghanistan out there, and you wonder why the young families can't sort of get involved in it, because somebody's staying at home, and that's not fair, But yeah.
Yeah, I've got I'll tell you a story off there, actually. I'm not going to say it on here.
I love your off-air stories.
I've got a good one for you. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like, like generally, like, what are hot laps at, like 6 o'clock or something? Like maybe 5 o'clock, everyone can get kicked out or something like that. Like,
yeah, 100%. Do a sweep through, like you said, and I don't know.
Well, we used to do it.
Well, that's right.
We used to do it all the time. But
you watch America and there's kids in the pits and dogs and,
Well, Dave Donners was having beers at World of Outlaws talking to J-Mac.
Yeah, there you go. How cool's that? And did anybody die?
Yeah,
no.
And, like, have you ever actually seen, like, behind the scenes of Chili Bowl?
Yeah, I have. Dude, it's pretty cool.
That is wild.
Yeah, I need to get there.
That is absolutely wild behind the scenes there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's hard to compare the two. I know that.
It is, but somebody's doing it somewhere, and I just...
Yeah, because to some degree, I'm grateful for the rules that we have in place, because, like, stuff over there is wild. Like... I think we need to find some sort of middle ground.
Yeah, 100%. No, I just want to keep the topic open, I think...
like Speedway City, like that big fence that ran around the
That
pits.
was cool, wasn't it? I remember as a kid, like, hanging on I remember standing there and a car actually ran out of brakes and then he went through. That was probably a little bit hang on. And then it was funny because everybody jumped the fence to get into the pits, and then the security rooms. Classic, but I was little. I would have jumped the fence, but that was cool because you could see, and that comes back to that whole tactile thing. Like when we were up in Chariots, we did the precinct, and I had my car like in a really good spot, pretty lucky there. But I was letting kids rip tear-offs off my helmet.
Yeah.
Climb all over the car. Like obviously I can wreck it more than anybody else can. So, and you can just see the appreciation in people when they're involved like that.
Yeah. Because I used to run down the pits after, like, if Brooke Tatnell had been out or something. Because do you remember where Crickies used to park?
Yep. They'd always have their same spot.
That second spot over.
Yep.
So, like, Brooke would go back in the chute, and I'd, like, run back down there to the fence and, like, watch him get out of the car and
Absolutely.
stuff. Like, I don't know.
I remember seeing Daryl Cricky, like, before he parked, like, a young lad, like... having a cigarette, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. It's probably not cool, but,
you're just that little bit closer to them. Like, you still had the fence. I'm not going to get in their way, but I was just that little bit closer.
You were there, you could see it all. Yeah. No, I forgot about that.
Yeah, actually, so someone was talking to me the other day about, like, can we do something like that at some of these other venues and stuff? For like,
see, it would have been good with Sydney, wouldn't it? When you... But that's all I'm going to say. Hang on, I'm just going to help you here. Yep.
Yeah, that's
wouldn't it be great to have a clear palette and... Yeah, but I mean, what we've got and what they've got, we just got to deal with it. We've got to move on and just by... I'll always be the advocate of the families and stuff like that because it affects me a hell of a lot. Yeah. We're lucky, though, with our kids, our ages. I think next year is the last... So next year, my youngest can get a pit or a mechanic's license to then be able to be in the pits.
Yeah.
So it's not going to affect me as much, but I still remember what it was like having 2-year-olds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah. Because I think, like, Jack, he said, like, I probably agree with him too. Like, the worst thing that's going to happen is going to be someone's going to go talk to a driver at the wrong point in time. And if a driver reacts badly to it, well, that's on them. That's right. Not on the sport or anything like that.
Yeah, it's and probably the security of stuff. Like we got a lot of crap in our trailers, and I've got nothing compared to everybody else. And then even getting back to maybe, having quads. Like, I don't want to because my trailer's not designed to have a quad. I'd have to get a new trailer. But, if that sort of, I can't speak to everybody because, it's an expense, but I don't know. There's got to be a way. We've got to just keep the conversation open, and then hopefully somebody hears it and pushes it, that can push it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see it because I think mention Jack again, but yeah, it's like he said, you never know that person who's going to walk through and have that conversation.
Absolutely,
like that.
They could have a nice checkbook and just want to be a fan, but want to be involved.
They might be their first night at the track, or
100%. That's why we do what we're doing with our YouTube channel. We just started. We haven't, there's nothing major or nothing. I've got major plans. Like, you've got to have a goal, but you just never know who's around the corner. You never know what's around the corner. Some of the people I talked to at the precinct, because I had my car there, and letting the kids rip my tear-offs off, and the parents of those kids were so grateful. Now, what was if they were on the cusp of wanting to open a checkbook? Well, then there I am talking. I
always think that every time I see a kid sat in someone's car, you've created a lifelong fan there.
I remember it as a kid. Kid.
That kid's gonna be a fan.
Absolutely.
Of yours for life.
Absolutely. It might only be in wingless. I remember I was signing autographs and shit. Who am I? But it made the kid feel good, and it made me feel good.
Yeah.
100%.
So you had obviously a ball up at Chariots.
Yeah. It's no denying that, and I talk about it a lot. On track was pretty tough. I'm not going to be a victim there, but it was tough for me. Straight out of the box, we were pretty lucky with our time trial, and I'll always be a bit modest on that. But I had a good run in that feature, but we had a kill switch. No, hang on. First, this is how silly it is. All these silly things. We had a bolt in the battery terminal strip itself. Whatever, I must have had too many Weet-Bix and just done it up and just, whatever. But anyway, so that just started cutting out when I was running fourth. That was really good fun, and I just felt right. And then I think the next night we had a kill switch that was only 3 meetings old, let go. That ruined us. And then I think we got taken out another night as well by Mr. Magoo. And then I think the final night was the straw. It was tough. When things are down, I get these travelling series now. When things are down, they really get down. When you're on the ground, people are just, or the situation's just stomping you. And got my front end taken out. And then as we were about to go out for the next heat, we had some bolt strip that we didn't realise, and we called 2 minutes. Didn't make it. And it's shit, what do we do now? Do we go out in a C main? I'll be off the back. Now, that night, Blake went from the C main and just dominated right up into the A main. I'm no Blake Walsh, but, it can be done. But I was just done. I ran out of spares. I was going to Will all the time to buy stuff. My car was all bent. It wouldn't have gone out without any bushes in the torsion bars, because we were just wrecked that much. We bent torsion bars in the car and that sort of stuff. So I just made the call. I don't know, if the older you get, the more you know that when you shouldn't be somewhere, you shouldn't be somewhere. All the younger guys go, oh no, get out there, do laps. Nah.
It takes more of a man to back out of a situation though than anything.
I don't know, it just didn't feel right. And the look on Phil, so my main crew guy, Phil Obes, the look on his face was pretty disappointing, because he's really positive. He's great for me. He just wants to keep learning and keep trying things and keep doing things. But I was done. I was done. And then we went up on the hill and watched the features, like the anchor feature, the sprint car, and the wingless features up on the hill. And that was so cool. That Darwin crowd's just nuts, air horns and, it was really cool. Yeah. So, what I take from that was that the experience was brilliant, and let's hope we're back on next year, because I'll move, everything to be up there. But if we're not on, I'll still be up there anyway, just because it's a great, it's a great event. Yeah.
I call it shenanigans.
Oh,
because I watched the documentary for, I think it's the World 100.
Oh yeah,
for the late models.
Yep.
And I didn't realise that's a party for the late models. I never realised that.
Yeah.
So they were Flo was showing all this stuff in the crowd, and I didn't realise that Eldora has all these like weird like $1 drinks and stuff like
that.
Yeah.
It's all the back end stuff.
Yeah,
it's the stuff people don't see.
Yeah, it's hectic. So it's like, me and Robert Hurd were calling it like shenanigans.
Like,
you got to go up for the shenanigans more than anything. So
100%. And once I get more confident with the camera, like with our YouTube, I wish I had the camera with me. So I actually stayed out at the track. Susie went home. And I saw the sun come up at the track and just some of the crap we were doing. It was like the old classic, like you'd stay back and then I end up falling asleep in the trailer and she's knocking on the door and she's picked me up. We've gone back in. I've had a shower. I've gone back to the track and young Zach's still cranking, like it was just, it was a good time. Good time.
Yeah, I'm hoping maybe next year I'll get up there.
I just couldn't encourage everybody enough to do it. Mm.
Yeah. So what's the plans from here on in? You picking and choosing, or you got to?
Well, Eastern Creek was going to get back to that naughty word.
Twice.
Yeah. No, well, I love travelling. I've worked out that travelling and racing is so much fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to be one of those guys that doesn't want to look after the backyard. But we've got a lot of people here. There's a lot of cars here. So the whole travelling thing, we're set up pretty well to travel with our tow car and our trailer, and you just. I don't know, it's just different, the way you talk to people or integrate with people. So I wanted to do a couple of meetings at Eastern Creek before the title, leave the car there, do all of that sort of thing. But now that's shelved. So I really, my aim is just to try and race all the big meetings I can. I'd love to do all the state titles, to be honest, but there's a clash here with our 60 lapper and Portland. But I've got family up in Toowoomba as well, and Toowoomba, I love Toowoomba. Like, it just looks so cool, and I just want to get there, so that's probably on our radar at the moment. We had like 22 shows that we're going to do, but with Sydney, it's probably opened us up a little bit more to go somewhere else. But I just want to race at tracks I want to race at too. I don't want to race at tracks that I don't really want to race at as well. And unfortunately, our series, there's a couple of tracks that, I'm not really excited about going to, the Ty Bill series, but, he does so much for us that how can you say no to him, So, to answer your question, I suppose, we have no plans except for just to nominate as much as we can and see how we go. Mm.
Yeah, because I think there's some big money for wingless at Toowoomba over Christmas.
So I've really sort of shut off with it because I knew I wasn't going to be able to go there, and then I've been a little bit busy with work since the big bomb's been dropped. So I'm going to look at it. Susie's keen to go, so that's the only hurdle really.
Yeah.
But the problem with me with my work is that summer is busy for us. So for me to take time out during this sort of period is not the wisest decision, and because I've used a fair bit of coin up lately on it, I've got to think of that too, unfortunately. Yeah,
right. The joys.
Oh yeah, it's put my big boy pants on and just get over it. I don't care though. I've got a race car, so the best thing you can do to anybody is take their race car away from them and then give it back to them, and that's what I've had. And I'm so lucky, like I said, we've got the trailer, even got a custom suit, like that to me was flash as Michael Jackson. Like anybody that had a custom suit, I just thought was just, man, that must be so good. And I know it's crazy, but it's cool,
No, because I remember, like, you see photos from back in the day and guys just have a plain suit.
Oh,
and for whatever reason, like, and then you can see
money
when it started, like, coming in and,
Yeah.
I can't get over the fact how drag racing guys wear a two-piece.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
I can't.
But it's their thing, isn't it?
I know.
It's their thing. I mean, they probably can't get over half the shit we do, but I know.
I couldn't do it. I don't think.
But the thing I had was a multi-fit suit, and I think I paid $400 for it online at the time, and obviously those things aren't $400, but that was cool. That I crowdfunded that. I get into the whole social media thing and when the algorithms and things and stuff like that and when to post things, and you'd understand this. But it was a Sunday night, so just after tea, and I just sat on the couch and I went, there'd be a few people on the cans now or having a bit of downtime but on their phone. So I crowdfunded that, half of it, more than half of that, and just sat down and I got answers straight away. Bang, yep, sweet. So it went from not getting a custom suit to getting a custom suit. And the argument with some of them, it was pretty funny. Like Todd Wigsell, he goes, man, you're going to have that thing for 10 years. I'm going to have my name on that for 10 years for X amount of money. That's the best, return on investment for him, and yeah, so.
That's an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, he's smart because he knew, he understands it. But that's got, anyway, mind me saying this, but that's got his foot in my door.
Yeah.
So now I've got the little sort of bait with him. I'll just look after him, and some of the other guys as well that are on there. Some have already supported me, and then there was another pest control company. He just said it as a joke. I'll give you money for it. I'll take your money. I don't give a shit. There's two things I'll always do. I'll put an invoice on anything, and I'll take anybody's money. I don't care who they are. So, but that also ties in with our work. So if I get any work that I can't do, guess he's going to get it. He's going to get it. Yeah.
Well, that's a smart thing. Yeah, because I remember, someone I was helping a few years ago, I was reaching out to basically competitors of like who else was in the field. Yeah. So like opposition, like car dealerships and stuff like that. Like it's not a stupid thing to do from a sponsorship point of view.
It's like we obviously spoke to everybody because I've got 2 plumbers and 2 pest controllers on there. So we just speak to each other and just say, you okay with that? You okay? Yeah, why not? Who cares? There's enough work out there for all of us. And that's, not even in my industry, in the plumbing, if you do everything right, it's happy days for everybody. We're not competitors, we're all doing the same thing. We're all trying to push the same shit shovel, essentially. Just work together. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not fish and chip shops moving in next door or anything
like
that.
Nah.
the only drama, always one that burns down too.
Yeah, well, that's, Well, the only drama I did get, though, it wasn't a fish and chip shop thing, but it was the pink.
Real men wear pink.
Well, so that was Speed Parlour. That's Adam. I just basically, the whole thing, actually, I just said to him, mate, I don't care what it is. I'm going racing. And I couldn't, and once he sent me some early things, I couldn't say no. But the comments I get about the car and the suit, just the whole thing is unreal.
This is what I spoke to Daryl Sloan about. It was like, it's guys like you who have put the time and, I'm assuming the money as well.
Yeah,
because
wraps aren't cheap.
It doesn't look like you've got a wrap sponsor. But it's guys like you that have brought the class up, in my opinion.
Yeah, but like I could never afford a wrap. Even that, getting a wrap, it was like, wow, man, I've made it now. That costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then you can destroy a wrap really easily, and I've learned that as well. Like the other side of the thing, we have to replace it. They're not cheap. So I get why people don't do it, though.
Yeah, totally.
I really do. Just because I can do something or somebody else is doing something, I'm not. I get that. It's same with the social media stuff. We all think we all should be doing it, but it's not for everyone. It's even.
I've made that comment before, and I in saying it, I don't understand it too.
It's not for everyone. We've all got our strengths and weaknesses. You just got to find the strength and work towards it.
Yeah. I think it's the people who whinge about no sponsorship and don't do anything social media wise.
Yeah. Well, if you don't change, nothing's going to change.
They're the ones that shit.
I think whinging. You just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be whinging. We should just work towards a common goal and just I've
thought a lot about that in the last week.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I'm not as a fan, as a Speedway fan. And as a competitor, that was going to obviously go there. It's sad. It's sad in a way, but they've still got something. Like, what have we got?
Yeah.
So, the glass is half full. It's just got the shockwaves have just got to work their way out.
It's definitely not going to go to waste.
No, it's not.
It's not going to get mothballed, and then one day we're going to be like, oh, maybe
they're just...
That is definitely going to be...
They're just cracking the egg, they'll make the omelette, and they'll move on, and we'll all be there, hopefully. So I don't know what's happening with our title, actually. It's just all...
I'm hoping it comes somewhere close-ish to us.
Oh, I could be in New Zealand and I'd still go. I wouldn't care, but I just want to race it, I just hope we don't have an off year, because that kills, Me
and Jack spoke about this the other day, and, like, the logistics of trying to get that up and running, like, for this season, like, if someone's managed to gets it done, full credit to them.
Oh, 100%. logistics of everything. You know, I mean, I've just watched you set up for 2 hours with all this crap. You know, I mean, what we do like that. So our Darwin trip took me 2 months to not plan, but just to organise. And every day I was coming home from work. All right, what do I got to do next? What do I got to do next? You know, so that's just us doing what we do. So I couldn't imagine it. You know, what it would take, but I just hope something happens.
And trying to fit it into a current calendar too.
Yeah. Well, the weekend's there, but then what other weekends have got people? Yeah. So who knows? But again, I'd race it on a Wednesday night, and you know.
Yeah. You'd assume that's going to stay in New South Wales.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't go up to the corner. You know, like Lismore or somewhere like that, because that's a real awkward spot for us to get to.
Yeah.
Like I said, like, you know, this time of year, an extra day of me not working actually cost me quite a lot of money. So something that, Sydney was always a good option because I could, you know, get in, get out, fly in, fly out and all that sort of stuff. But when it's somewhere awkward, like a 2-stop strategy for a flight or something like that. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, I've looked at all that stuff as well. It's like, oh, you really want to go there? And it's like, oh, man, it's like...
Pull up Webjet and get all the flights. And how you going to do... It's like the Nazis when they had their board game. Not a board game, but, you know, when they had the maps. And they're trying to... You know, a bit like... even with Cott, with their pit allocation, I reckon he had a big board out and trying to work that out. See, that's organisation up there. That's unreal.
Yeah, well, that's why, like, with the Classic, you've got to... You nominate with the length of your trailer.
Yeah, well, we had to do that with the cot. So we had to...
Makes sense.
Like, well, it does. It's and especially up there too, because they were fairly limited with their pit. So all the anchors had to sort of, you know, they copped it worse because they had to unload and then just all be next to each other and all that sort of stuff. But they seeded us in length and stuff, and it was just, you know, you could just rock up and just know that you had that spot. You know, it was concrete pad, grass, you know, water. It was we'll go again about Darwin, but it was just really good.
Is what it is. It's like, they're doing they're doing like the right stuff. Like they're the ones who are helping the sport and everything.
But it takes work and it takes a good team. You know, they've got a massive team up there. But just felt like home. Nothing was too hard for them. Just a happy place, I suppose. Yeah.
So you're going again?
No, if we're on. I'll be first to nominate again.
Is that to Jason?
Yeah, it's to Jason. Yeah. You know,
I'll clip it for you.
I think people loved us up there. You know, I think our racing was awesome. You know, I'm going to be biased, but I think we put on a good show, and it's good to have the 410s as a support class. Like, that's not going to help us in any way, but I'll stuff them. Yeah.
And the viewers go away.
I don't care.
It is there. I think a lot of those guys are starting to take more notice now than ever before, though.
What's that about?
The sprint car guys are starting to notice.
Yeah, yes and no. Chalk and cheese, I suppose. Really, you know, they probably like us because we buy all their old crap. You know, it's easy to move stuff on and stuff like that. You know, it gets
I reckon that's almost getting harder though too.
Yeah,
because the quality of some of these cars that guys are building, they're not buying second-hand stuff anymore. I'm not buying
second-hand stuff. No. And that was one thing I didn't want to really, you know, I didn't want to go through tyres a lot like that as well, because I was spending so much time just taking tyre, because I could only run a heat out of a tyre or something like that. And then I said to Susie, when we worked out how much things were costing, actually Jack gave me a bit of a tyre bill scenario, what he spent in that year that, you know, he raced this thing, and I went, okay, well, if that's what he's spending, I'll back that down a bit, because obviously I'm not Jack, but I knew that was a thing, and so I just never have approached any sprint car guys for anything like that. So you're probably right. It does teach you racecraft and all that sort of stuff, and wheel awareness, you know, like when that wheel is going to put you in the fence, or, you know, stuff like that. But it's a shame that we don't see a lot of poaching, I suppose, out of the I'd love to. There's about 5 wingless guys I'd love to see in a sprint car.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
there's
probably more than 5.
I reckon I've got a list of like 20. I'll put a feature together. Like, There's like, for like, I don't know, various reasons. There's guys that aren't in sprint cars.
And I get that as well. But I love seeing the young blokes come up through our class and then go on to. Like the Joel Chadwick, like when he first came into our class, he was fresh out of juniors, and I remember talking to him, you know, and then just see him become a 2-time, you know, like that's killer, you know. And then Scott Boguski, like I remember sitting with him at Speedway City. We did our hot laps or something, and then sprint cars were out with their hot laps time trial. And I just walked up to him, and just I think one of the first things he said was, "Man, I'd do anything to get one of these things." And he looked so intense. I mean, he's a bit like that anyway, but you know. And I just went, "Yeah, fair enough." You know, didn't think much of it. And now I see what he's doing. It does not surprise me one bit.
Yeah,
you know, and it's good to be not a part of that, but to see that, you know, see that sort of growth from our sport. And that's one of the main things I like about it, is just the young brigade coming through. You know,
because someone like, you know, for whatever reasons it has or hasn't happened, like to see Joel in a sprint car. I was itching for the day to see it. And
I know. I'd love to win $1 million and put him in a seat, you know.
Yeah.
Mainly because he's a good dude.
Yeah.
You know, like all of this, like you need to have talent, obviously. Like you need to know what to do and you know, look after stuff and all that. But a lot of it's got how your crew gels as well.
Yeah.
And he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And always has been. Nice family. I know so there you go. There's a bit of work that I did initially. So I work at where his mum lives. I work there, and back in the days when I used to race this, because they knew they needed a pestie and they knew I was a pestie, and I've been going to his mum's place ever since. Like, you know, so it sucks though, because I've got to see his trophies. Like there's this trophy room, and they're all of that era. I was getting spanked by him.
Have you seen his shed?
Oh well, no, I haven't. This is the trophies though that I get to see that I finished. I finished fourth to that one. You know,
I suppose because he's had 10 years on top of that as
well. Yeah. So I haven't seen the last. I don't even want to see him. I can imagine. I just look at these ones that could have been me. Nowhere near it, but you know. Yeah, but I'd love to see him in something. I'd love to see Jack. Like, I love the fact that Jack's in a midget now. That's killer. That suits him, I think.
Yeah.
But that's awesome that he's been given that opportunity.
Because I wish you could show the regular punter who's maybe goes to Speedway occasionally, or someone who's never been to Speedway. I'd love to show them how approachable someone like Joel is.
Yeah. Well, you're right, but we've got to do that too. You know, it's like, so when we had this car at the pub there, at the precinct in Darwin, you know, everybody was looking at it, but it was me that was going, do you want to sit in it?
Yeah.
You know, like some people say, there's nothing better than a kid coming up asking it. No kid's going to come up and ask. There's not that many kids that are going to come up and ask. We have to be the ones that put ourselves out there, you know, and, you know, but that then is the whole pit opening up thing.
Yeah.
You know, it gets that, you know, back to that. But we need to take that on. Like, that's something we need to do, you know, not really expect the punter to come to us. So that's why, again, with our YouTube channel, that's what I want to try and open up so people can see what we're like, you know. It's not made for the people I race against or the people in the industry, but if, you know, they want to watch it, that's fine. It's more for the people that don't know us, and then also people like my family and stuff like that. I do it for them, and then also the sponsors. So, again, it's up to us to put ourselves out there, but it's not for everyone. Yeah. Definitely not.
Yeah, because trying to get rid of that thing of like, we're just like hillbillies on the hill is just like, it's a hard thing to try and...
Yeah. But I mean, you know, Speedway is one of those things that it's not for everyone as well. And we need to understand that as well. Like, you know, we always go on about if we had the chance to show somebody, they'll love it. It doesn't work like that, you know?
Yeah.
But you just got to give...
I've been taken to an AFL game before and I could not care.
Oh, it sucks. There's no commentators.
I hate it. Yeah.
So,
I actually went to a T20 game. It was exactly the same. It was boring as. On TV, it was cool.
I'm normally pretty drunk at a cricket game, so I enjoy it. But I got given these tickets once to go to a footy game. It was Crowsport, and it was like a win from behind thing from third quarter, right? But as soon as that first ball bounced, I was like, everybody went quiet. Like, you hear the cheering. Yeah. Where's the commentator? Like... You know, it was just, I couldn't handle it. Yeah. And people think I'm crazy. And apparently it was one of a great game. So, you know, as much as we like to sort of not play the victim in our industry, but saying, you know, everybody would love it. Well, no, they won't. But we've got to still put ourselves out there to grab that 1 out of 10 person.
Yeah, I think that's the person we need coming into the sport. Because, like, our money's guaranteed.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Like,
you
know...
Look at me, I'm on round 2 and I'm still coming back for more.
We're going to go to every meeting that we possibly can, or possibly can't financially as well, because we're just like diehards for it. But you just need like the guy that's coming on the odd occasion who might return. That's the money that we need.
That's the one. But who is that one?
Yeah.
You know? And it's like the way I introduced Susie into the sport, I knew I had to be tactful about it. I couldn't just take her to, no disrespect to local staff, but I wanted to take her to the really top staff to start with, and that sort of, I think, helped a lot.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know what you're saying. I took my missus to Borderline first.
So she was not in the Suvo?
No.
Yeah, right.
No.
So Mount Gambier, sweet.
Yeah.
Power move.
She wore a white jumper to the first meeting too, eh?
You
Which I didn't think about, eh? I was like, whatever. Because I'm going to see sprint cars. Yeah. And then hot laps, I was like, ooh.
Oh, shit. But she's still with you?
Still
well, did something right.
So,
But it's even those little things we've got to think about, I've started looking into, I just noticed Murray Bridge, like with their corporate boxes that they've got opening up for the season. So I started looking into that, and I'm thinking, maybe I might get one of those one night, but I want to see what it's like first before I throw people in there.
Yeah.
Because, they're up high. I don't know. I've never been in them. So.
That was a very sore point when they went there because we used to park there. We used to park there. You can't park there because those boxes.
So you've lost half of the car parks available.
Yeah, we've lost the spot that we could park in. So it's up top. There's a great spot.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So you're too much into the pits and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
like legitimately, if you could do anything with Murray Bridge Speedway, like building the club rooms up there would be
because it's up top.
Yeah, it's just such a you have that cauldron aspect to it, which is just like
we're so lucky with that, eh?
Yeah,
like, Darwin's the same. It's the same. It's cut into the hill, and it just creates that atmosphere, doesn't it? The amphitheatre sort of feel. Yeah.
That's why I trip out when you watch the American stuff and no one on corners,
no
grass hills and stuff. It's all just bleach. I trip out.
They're in one spot. And that's
I know. It seems so weird to me. But then they think it's weird.
They think there's some people all the way around.
You guys
but it makes sense, doesn't it?
Because deck chairs,
but it makes sense, doesn't it? Because then they've got everybody in one spot, so they're toilets and
and I suppose from that sort of thing too.
Sorry,
I suppose.
But I'm a bit of a Debbie Downer sometimes on that sort of stuff. But
you got to be honest.
I just call it how it is.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think as a racer, you've got to be honest with yourself. You can't. Yeah. You can't go into these things. To some degree, you've got to go into every race thinking that you're going to win it, but at the same time too, you got to be.
Yeah, I just don't. I think my mentality now has changed totally. Like I used to want to beat everybody, and I couldn't stand everybody I raced. In a racing sense. I just I don't want to tear up stuff as much, but I just don't want to make any mistakes.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I don't want to come in and Phil go off at me because I should have done something or should have done that. I just want to just give it a crack and, I don't know, you change the older you get, I suppose. Yeah.
A little bit safer in your driving or?
Not really. So, Darwin was a huge thing that a lot of people don't realise, and I haven't spoken about it with anybody else, like other drivers, but Mitch's crash. That was really that was pretty horrific. I'll be honest. And I've spoken to Mitch a few times beforehand, and I was dealing with him a little bit before that crash earlier in the night, and I got a bit of a soft spot for him. He reminds me a bit of a Joel Chadwick coming through. Guy's got talent and all that sort of stuff, and now he's in a wingless, and a lot of thoughts went through my mind about that night. But as soon as so we had 3 red lights or something in the feature that night, and I'd be sitting there and wait, and there's nothing worse than just sitting there because the adrenaline's here and the mind's here, and I could see his car still in the infield as well, and I was trying not to look at it. But as soon as you get that yellow light to hit the button and that bang, it all goes away.
Yeah. But
it did. It does make these things they'll hurt you. They're a piece of steel. They don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
I remember Greenie always saying that. And I just I obviously look at it different now because I've seen a lot of things as well. But I just hope our young kids just we need to install that into them a little bit. I think not saying anything about his crash was like that, but I've seen a lot of these young kids come through and have some pretty big licks. Yeah, we just got to be a little bit careful. I think we just they're open wheels and they'll bite.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. So did you see Mitch's crash?
Yeah. So I was. Yep.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone that, unless you're at the track, has seen or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it was just one of those things that never happened.
So
yeah, 100%, and it's one of those things that never happened, but it happened, and it just it just brings to mind that these things do bite hard, and unfortunately, and same with young Vickers crash last year as well. That made me change a few things, that really, I was there that night watching, and it's not cool. But if you're strapping a helmet on, obviously it's dangerous in some form or another.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the way I drive or anything. When I get out there, I just
that's when the racer and you.
Yeah. And I think I don't know what it is. I just want to, all I want to do is stretch the throttle spring on that thing, and But
you have to be like that though.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You're wasting a lot of money, a lot of people's time. I had 2 of my crew guys fly themselves up to Darwin at their own expense.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot on the line, if you're not having a crack. We don't expect to win, but, we just want to have a crack. And
a laugh, I'm guessing too.
Sorry?
And a laugh.
Oh, dude. Some of the stuff, there's some of the stuff I can't tell you about that happens, but I will. But off this thing. But, it's just great. It's my family.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle, it's a family, and they're all good people, and coming back into the class has been cool. Some of the people that I used to race against are still in there.
Yeah.
It's good seeing Mason Merritt coming back in. So I used to race against him. There's a few of us coming back in. It's really cool. And that just says something about it.
Yeah, I think that speaks volumes about the class.
Oh, for sure. For sure. For we all give it up 9 times out of 10. We don't really want to stop, but the desire to do it and the fun and all that sort of stuff is definitely there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, this has been
shit. How long's that?
This is just gone over now. Nearly.
Oh, okay. I thought I was going to struggle to talk.
You?
Yeah. But who am I? I'm just some pesty up in Mount Barker with a Commodore engine.
I think you wingless guys love a chat.
Yeah.
There's someone who's been bugging me from Victoria.
Yeah. Get him on. No.
No, I will. It's just the biggest thing for me with this, and obviously too, and I spoke about it when I did that, which the one that I did on my own.
Yeah.
Is super awkward.
I actually haven't watched that one yet.
It's super awkward for me, because I'll go talk to anyone in the street. I do not give a shit. I'll go.
When the light's on someone else?
No, just go stick me at a bus stop. I'll go talk to the old bloke sitting there. I don't give a shit. I don't care. And then to sit there and do one on my own, and it's not scripted. This isn't scripted.
Yeah. I was amazed about that. I thought you would have had questions, research on me. Nah.
It's just
It's just blurt.
Yeah, just
a couple of cans and blurt.
It's what it should be. If it's too scripted and you have too many questions to try and hit, the conversation's not going to flow.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And what you're doing is awesome for us. I can't embrace it enough. When you asked me, bang. I saw a friend request come up and I went, oh, here we go. I was like, yeah. And obviously the timing was a bit weird to start with, but no, it's great for us. And why people aren't embracing you is beyond me. But again, it's not for everyone.
Yeah, I'll get that.
But if it's what I can do to help the class, I'm not a good administrator and all of that sort of stuff. But if I can do something else, by helping promote it, and it helps me out, obviously, as well, power to it. So keep it up.
Cheers, man.
No worries, mate.
Thanks, man.
All the best.
You too. Cheers.
All right.